Hello everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In the last video lesson for the Raw Umber series, in this video we're going to create our hue string. So I've got all the colors laid out in my palette. I have omitted some colors just to save some time. I have the Deco Art Traditions series, Phthalo Green Yellow, Phthalo Green Blue, Phthalo Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Red Violet, Permanent Alizarin Crimson, Naphtha Red Light, Pernon Orange, Hansa Yellow Medium, Hansa Yellow Light, Yellow Oxide, Raw Sienna, Burnt Umber, whoopsie, and then of course the Raw Umber and Titanium White, which I forgot to put on the palette. I'm always forgetting to put the white on there. So at this point now, we've gone through once we've done this, we've gone through every single color in our color wheel. There are some colors that are going to be covered off in the next series we're doing is about black, then we're going to do white, then we're going to do the extended palette with those colors. Then you're going to have to start determining what you want in your limited palette and what you want in your extended palette. Then we're going to cover off, depending on what type of paintings you do, we're going to cover off the palette for portraits, the palette for landscapes. Sorry, the portrait for the palette for portrait paintings, a palette for pet portrait paintings, a palette for landscape paintings, and a palette for seascape paintings. We're going to cover off palettes for those. So once we do this, the black and the white, then we're going to start narrowing down what colors you can get rid of. And I don't say get rid of, throw them away. I mean, just put them aside that, in case you want to, underpaint a canvas for something just to use up the paint. So I have the colors listed out here, and I forgot to write them down, so I'll do that now. So what we're going to do is we're going to, Phthalo Green Yellow, Phthalo Green Blue. I can't talk and do this at the same time. Phthalo Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Red Violet, Permanent Alizarin Crimson, Naphtha Red Light, Pernon Orange, Hansa Yellow Medium, Hansa Yellow Light, and then Yellow Oxide, Raw Sienna, Burnt Umber. Then we have the Raw Umber, and then we have the Titanium White. So this one here, I'm going to use Raw Umber with a bit of white. This will be a bit of white with more Raw Umber. This one here will be a complete chart. Because what we have the green that leans towards yellow, the green that leans towards blue, blue that leans towards green, blue that leans towards violet, violet that leans towards blue, a red that leans towards violet, red that leans towards orange, orange, standard orange, hence yellow leans towards orange, yellow leans towards green. Again, even with some of these, there's some that I don't use a lot of Pernon Orange. I don't use a lot of Red Violet. I just switched it out with Quinacridone Violet in this series. So there's still colors here that I can remove and put them out into my extended palette. But it's not about me, what I'm doing. It's about what you're going to have in your palette. So what we're going to do in this lesson, we're going to take Raw Umber and add just enough of the mixing color to see a shift. So we start off with Raw Umber with Phthalo Green Yellow. So we know that Phthalo Green Yellow is a yellow that leans, it's a green that leans towards yellow. It's very dark. And I found too that with the lessons that we just covered off is that I ended up having to go, except with the phthalo colors, I ended up having to go about a half and half mixture. So half ultramarine blue and half raw umber, half red violet and half raw umber, because raw umber is so dark. So this particular mix here, the raw umber and the phthalo green yellow, what I really like about it is it makes for a really nice background color for underpainting a canvas. It's a nice green. I would use it much lighter than this. But every mix that we're doing here, every single mix, you could create a canvas underpainting with every single one. Ooh, that's way too much. Let's try that again. So Phthalo Green Blue, we're going to see a definite change here. I still think I added a bit more, too much blue to this. Yeah, but that's okay. It's a lot more intense than the phthalo green yellow. That's really pretty. Like that. So phthalo blue. I'm going to add just too much. Put a bit more blue in there. There we go. It's really hard when you're mixing with the phthalo colors because they're so dark. So even with me, you see how many times I had to kind of adjust that. And don't feel bad if you have to keep adjusting it. Just start off with the least amount of paint possible to get your mix. This is a really nice one too. So as we start going this way now, the mixes are going to become brighter. And you're not going to see too much of a shift like for complementary colors and all that stuff because Raw Umber is a dull neutral right off the bat. Ultramarine Blue, I'm going to add half to the Raw Umber. And I'm not even going to ask a pop quiz question because at this point, I already asked you that question more than once. I'm going to add more blue to that. I want to show you this particular mix really going on the blue side. It creates the most amazing blue. All these could be used technically as is at a chromatic black because it's so dark. It's when you add the white that you see the true shift in the color. So if you didn't have, and we're going to cover that in the next lesson, if you didn't have a carbon black, this is how you get it. You get something like that. There you go. So you don't have to buy black. The only thing is, black is opaque. Doing this mixture, it looks pretty opaque here because I added the white, but up here, it's semi-opaque because ultramarine blue is more transparent. So now we're going to do with the red violet. I'll need a bit more paint than that. So roughly equal parts. Again, this isn't quite a chromatic black because we're getting lighter now in colors. It's a nice, right off the bat, it looks like a nice burgundy. When you add the white, you see what's really involved. There we go. So they're all really muted colors. There's really not a lot happening. Permanent Alizarin Crimson, I'm going to add 1/4 of the mixture of the paint to Raw Umber. I think I could have went a little bit more on that. I don't think I did that. There's a glare in the paint I can't quite see. Oh, now I think I added too much. What was I saying? I don't remember. Oh, so you can see that they're quite muted. They're very soft, and that's because Raw Umber is really dull to start off with. But you see now that they are getting a little bit brighter and lighter because we are working towards riding the color wheel where the colors are lighter. So Naphtol Red Light, I'm going to add about 1/4 the amount. Hope I made enough paint. And if you have the time, add 2 layers of paint to your chart so it's fully opaque. I'm not worrying about that because really the translucence, the layer of transparency, it varies if you're using heavy body paints, soft body paints, and fluid acrylics. That's why I'm not focusing too much on the transparency. That's Naphtha Red Light. Look how soft that is. And then we're going to work with Peridot Orange. Let's go right here. This one's going to be roughly almost half. Try that again. So roughly half. A lot brighter now. The intensity of the colors are getting brighter. And now we've got Burnt Umber with Handsy Yellow Medium, roughly equal parts. I don't like this mix. I think I'm a bit more on the Raw Umber side with this one. This one really shows how green this is instead of yellow. And we'll work side by side now with Handsy Yellow Light. So this is a yellow that leans towards orange. Now we're going to do the same mix with a yellow that leans towards green, roughly equal parts. A bit more than that. So I find Handsy Yellow Light, the actual texture of the paint in this particular brand is much different than the Handsy Yellow Medium. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's more transparent, it just has a different feel to it. So lighter by nature, a little bit brighter. And now we're switching over to the neutrals. So hope I have enough paint. Raw Umber with Yellow Oxide, roughly equal parts. Now because Yellow Oxide is opaque, the shift is going back now to dull. And Yellow Oxide is basically like an earth tone, even though it's the synthetic version. This color I like. Okay. And let's see, Raw Umber with Raw Sienna, roughly equal parts, a bit more than that. Now the Raw Sienna you may need to add a little bit more because it's semi-transparent. Some white. Whoops, didn't mix that very well. Bad girl. Running out of room. Another nice neutral color. You can definitely see the transparency level there. And Burnt Umber now with Burnt Sienna, roughly equal parts. Now because Burnt Sienna is much more vibrant than Raw Umber, the mix will be more red. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Now, Raw Umber, I'm going to have to add more paint. Raw Umber with Burnt Umber, roughly equal parts. You're not going to see much happening there because they are both so dark. A bit too much water in my brush there. Add some white. Oh, let's go over here. Okay. Raw Umber. Not too much, just a little bit. This brush is taking a beating. So now we're just gonna, no, now we're just doing raw umber with white. So we can compare. Let's try to match the value. Oh, you probably can't see. Oh, guess what? It helps for me to put raw umber up on top. So there's raw umber by itself. And then I'm going to take a lot more white with just a little bit of raw umber. So this is raw umber with lightened with a bit of white. This is going to be white tinted with a little bit of raw umber. I'm going to do 2 mixes here. That paint is still wet. So that one there. And that one there. When you see the light values, you really get an understanding that you can use so many different colors to really knock down white, because white is really, it's cold. There we go. Look at those subtle colors. I love the subtle colors. So we've covered off all the colors. I should do this in the summary. I'm going to do it now, but we've covered off all the colors now in a typical limited and extended palette. We didn't go take the extended palette right to the very end because there's so many other colors that we can do, but this is a typical extended palette. What do you prefer? Like at this point, have you determined yet what colors you're thinking about, what colors you're favoring? Do you favor a specific mix? Do you favor, let's say, working more with the ultramarine blues, with your reds to get your violets? Is there anything that you've really noticed of when you first started with the very first lesson to what you've come through now, stuff that you really like? Is there a specific mix that you don't like, or a specific paint that you don't like? Have you decided yet if you're going to, once you go through the paints that you have, if you have craft paint, will you be picking up less but more professional paint? So just let me know where you are right now. Right now, after you do this lesson, where you are right now as to how you feel about your confidence level or your knowledge level in the course. I know that it's a really long course. I studied full-time 6 months in art school just for this, so it's just trying to make it more fun for you guys with all the little charts and stuff. But let me know how you feel that you are right now, or if there's something still that you're struggling with, so I can cover it off in another lesson. All right, so I want you to post your pictures in the community with any questions that you have, any aha moments that you had when making this chart. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to the description below, click the link to the community. If you're a member, you already know what to do. If you're not a member, you just need to join. It's a private group, so I do approvals once a day for the community. Alrighty, so I'm going to leave you with this cleanup, and then the next series we're going to go over is black, all about black, gray, and values, and I'm so excited about this because we're going to get to work with chromatic black. I'm so excited for this. Oh, alrighty, so until I see you in that video, stay inspired.